What if I told you that one of the most misunderstood, most secretly judged, and most wrongly dismissed habits in older men is actually one of the most important tools for preserving your health, your confidence, and your independence? Yes, I'm talking about masturbation. And yes, after 60. For years, this topic has lived in whispers, shrouded in shame, riddled with misinformation, or treated like a private vice no one should ever admit to past a certain age. But the truth, the real truth, is something nobody dares to say out loud. And that's exactly why we need to say it. Because this silence, it's hurting men. We live in a world where youth and sexuality are seen as inseparable, where being over 60 is automatically equated with decline, weakness, irrelevance, and worst of all, a quiet, assumed asexuality. As if past retirement age, you're supposed to close the curtains on your body's desires and pretend they never existed. But the truth no one tells you, your sexual self never truly dies. It evolves. And ignoring it doesn't make it disappear. It makes you lose touch with it, which in turn affects your physical vitality, your mental sharpness, your emotional balance, and even your relationships. Now, let me say something you might not have heard before, and maybe no one has ever had the courage to tell you. Masturbation after 60 is not a problem. It's not shameful. It's not something to outgrow. Done correctly, it's a private form of maintenance, physical, mental, hormonal, and even neurological. But done unconsciously, compulsively, or in a state of isolation, it can also quietly sabotage your health and set you up for frustration, loss of confidence, and even sexual dysfunction. And you won't realize it until it's already reshaped your reflexes, rewired your brain, and drained your connection to real intimacy. This isn't a video about whether you should or shouldn't. This is about the deeper truth. You're training your body every time you touch it, and what you're training it to do may not be what you think. Let's break the silence, let's unlearn the shame, and let's talk like men, openly, directly, and with honesty about what no one tells you about masturbation after 60. First, the biological truth. After age 50, testosterone begins to decline at a slow but steady rate, and this affects everything: muscle mass, bone density, libido, erections, sleep quality, and even your memory. Blood flow becomes less efficient, recovery times increase, erections take longer, are less firm, and can disappear midway if your focus slips. But here's what most men don't realize. Masturbation is one of the simplest ways to stimulate blood flow, reinforce pelvic floor activity, and maintain the neurological pathways that allow arousal and erection to happen in the first place. In short, it's not just a habit, it's practice, it's training. Every time you masturbate, you're not just chasing a release, you're giving your vascular system a reason to pump blood into areas that, if left inactive, become less responsive over time. You're triggering the release of dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins, natural chemicals that lower stress, improve mood, enhance sleep, and even protect memory. In fact, studies show that regular sexual activity in older men is correlated with lower rates of cognitive decline and improved emotional resilience. But, and this is a massive but, not all masturbation is created equal, because how you masturbate shapes how your body learns to respond. If you do it the wrong way, you train your brain and body into patterns that can backfire when you're with a partner or even just trying to feel good on your own. Let's talk about 3 hidden mistakes that sabotage men over 60, mistakes that no one talks about because we've all been too embarrassed to ask. Mistake number 1, the quick fix mindset. This happens when masturbation becomes a mechanical habit, rushed, goal-oriented, and tension-driven. You do it fast, in secret, maybe before bed or as a form of stress release, but you're not truly present. The goal is to finish quickly, clean up, and move on. Sounds harmless, right? But neurologically, it's a disaster because you're training your body to associate arousal with urgency, with stress, with pressure. Over time, your body forgets how to sustain arousal slowly, gently, or mindfully. You might find that you can finish quickly on your own, but when you're with a real person, the stimulation feels too slow. You lose interest, you go soft, or worse, you climax too soon, because that's what your nervous system has been conditioned to expect. And the worst part, you start to think something's wrong with you, that you're too old, that you're broken. But the truth is, your body is just following the script it's been given. It's trained, not broken. The fix? Slow it down. Stop treating masturbation like a chore or a guilty secret. Turn it into a slow, curious, attentive ritual. Focus on sensation. Breathe deeply. Touch yourself in new ways, at new speeds, with new pressure. Try edging, getting close to climax, then pulling back. Repeat this wave. You're not just holding off, you're retraining your arousal response for control, endurance, and depth. Now, mistake number 2, over-reliance on pornography. This one is tricky because porn feels easy, immediate, exciting. You don't need to imagine anything. It's all served to you, prepackaged, perfectly edited, high resolution. And for men who grew up before the digital age, it can feel like a private revolution. Unlimited access to anything, anytime, anywhere. But there's a hidden cost, because when you train your arousal to respond only to extreme visual stimulation, you desensitize yourself. You rewire your dopamine system to need constant novelty. You become dependent on intense imagery, and when you try to be intimate with a real person who breathes, who has emotions, who moves differently, it doesn't match the script your brain is used to. The result? You go soft, you can't focus, you need more and more stimulation, and real life doesn't deliver. This is known as porn-induced erectile dysfunction, and it's becoming more common in older men than anyone realizes. The antidote? Take a detox. Not forever, but long enough to reboot your arousal system. Use imagination, fantasy, sensation. Think about past experiences. Build scenarios in your head. Try audio erotica or read sensual literature. These methods activate different parts of your brain and reconnect you with your own arousal, not someone else's performance. And finally, mistake number 3, the death grip. This happens when you always masturbate the same way. Same hand, same grip, same pressure, same position. Often hard, fast, and with maximum friction. It feels good in the moment, but you're training your penis to only respond to that exact sensation. When you're with a partner, their touch is too soft. Their rhythm is different. You feel nothing, or you can't finish, or you go numb. This is called sensory adaptation, and it's a real phenomenon. You've taught your body that only one path leads to pleasure, and now every other path feels dull. The fix? Change it up. Use lubricant, switch hands, try different positions, lying on your back, standing up, in the shower. Experiment with lighter touch. Use rhythm instead of pressure. The more variety you introduce, the more flexible and responsive your arousal system becomes. And here's something else no one talks about. Use your masturbation time to practice with condoms. Seriously, many older men struggle with condoms not because of age, but because they've never gotten used to how they feel. Use one while masturbating, get used to the sensation, find the right fit. That way, when you're in a real situation, there's no fumbling, no awkwardness, no loss of erection from unfamiliarity. Remember, masturbation is your personal training ground. What you do alone directly impacts what you can do with someone else.